Hi, my name is Simona Madievsky, and I'm currently a sophomore at Carmel High School, and today I'd like to talk about how my expectations for myself affected me mentally during school. Now, as a bit of a cliche icebreaker, I'd like to talk about what 2020 and what 2021 has given to us as a whole. So we've experienced racial injustice, fires, a crazy election, and of course the main one, COVID-19. Now, during this time of solitude and isolation and yearning for a connection with others, we've had a lot of time to grow and understand what we want to improve as. I know I had very high expectations for myself. I wanted to start exercising more, start eating healthier, start wearing my hair down in its unruly curls, and I wanted to start maintaining my grades and getting the highest grades I possibly could. Now, during all of this, I was focused on solely one thing, which was grades. I was expecting a very linear transition into my grades. I wanted to bloom and become my perfect self in the span of just a few months, but of course that didn't happen. Aside from my grades, all of my other aspirations fell flat very quickly and soon completely left my conscience, and I forgot about them. Now, every once in a while I'd remember what I wanted to achieve, and I would start belittling myself and critiquing myself and giving absolutely no slack and no understanding about why my goals weren't being met. I was being too hard on myself. I wasn't looking at the big picture. Now, if we take a look at this rose over here, it consists of a stem, thorns, petals, and leaves, and the big red bud. Now, if you look at this rose as a whole, you can notice the other things, such as the thorns and the petals, but your eyes go to that big red bud. These are gifted to people to show love because of that big red bud. Now, the leaves and the stem and the thorns make up the rose, but they're not what truly makes the rose so loved. Now, goals are similar to this. They are a crucial part of you, but they aren't what makes you you. You have many things making you you. You have your aspirations, your character, the way you treat others, your values. They're no good if they're separate. They don't count for anything. They have to come together, and that's what makes you you, not anything separate. Now, during this time of isolation, I was pretty stuck on the separated mindset of thinking my goals were the only thing that mattered, and they were what made me valuable, which obviously isn't true. But during this time, it was close to winter break. We were finally getting a break for school, and I decided to actually focus back on these previous goals. Except I didn't. That's not what happened at all. I suddenly had the urge to do something that I never thought I'd want to do again, which was play piano. Now, we have to have a little bit of a history lesson here in order to understand why this was slightly odd. So, from the ages of 8 to around 10 and 12 and 13, I was playing weekly lessons alongside my older brother. That almost accounted for 1,500 hours of practicing piano, which I desperately hated. I absolutely hated it. But I started when I was 8, so I was forced into it by my dad, and he thought it was what's best for me at the time, which is fair. Now, I, again, started at the young age of 8, so I was always playing for my dad, to make him happy, for my teacher, to see that I'm improving, for my mom, for my brother, for my friends. I was playing for someone else consistently because it was never my choice to start playing. So, similarly, I can relate this to something else, such as school. During the summer, everyone is very relieved. They're getting their well-deserved break. They're having a blast. But sometimes that boredom can creep in, and we can start yearning for creativity and productivity again. I would find myself getting out my brand new notebooks and pens and just looking up some chemistry topic on Khan Academy or YouTube just so I can feel my mind work again. Now, back in school, we would do the same things. We would learn some things, except there was never a yearning to do it, obviously, because it's school. We would always write this exam to pass this test, do this homework neatly to make this teacher proud, or to make your parents proud, or to make your friends proud. I know for me and for a lot of my friends, there's very little motivation to do it for yourself. But that's kind of the mindset that we were raised in. You have to get good grades, and that equals college and a good job. But that's never what we really wanted. Now, when we look at it as a whole, this mindset is pretty toxic because all of that pressure from your teachers and your friends and your family, it's too much, and you can't keep that pressure on the inside. You can't keep it with yourself. You have to be more forgiving to yourself. You have to allow yourself to do the things that you want to do. Going back to piano, the reason I hated it was because it was never my own will to play piano. It was always for someone else. But recently, when I started up again, that was because I wanted to do it. I didn't care if I made a mistake. I didn't care if I only played a couple notes and then left, because it was my own free will. There was no one there to judge me, to watch me. It was just me. Similarly, with the Khan Academy thing, there's no one to grade my work. There's no one to tell me that my work isn't good enough. It's just me. It's just me reading and wanting to be a little bit more productive that day. It's the big picture that matters. Again, if we look at this rose, it consists of all these different things, but it's there in its own beauty, and it's standing there together with these thorns and these leaves and this stem and these petals and this bud. It's all together. Now, when you have all of your goals and your aspirations and your character and your values, that's what matters in the end, not all of them separated. What matters is the final picture. It's the rose. When you allow yourself to be kinder to yourself and focus on the big picture, your aspirations will come a lot more naturally than if you focus on them separately. Like I said, I found that I would only focus on my grades, the rest of my aspirations falling flat. But as I started to see what I wanted myself to look like as a whole, with all of the thorns and all of the petals, I found that a lot of my aspirations were getting completed. And that's not just some coincidence, because I allow myself to take time. It wasn't a linear process at all. It was very, very exponential, and it had a lot of ups and downs. But that forgiving mindset, allowing for those bumps in the road, is what got me to be where I am now. And it's not perfect. It won't be perfect for a while because we are constantly changing. But it's called growth. And if you look at the big picture, it's still beautiful, and it's still something that is that can be aspired to. Thank you.